Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Ranch and Stilettos presents Cocktails and Conversations. I'm your host, Marcia Williams Cromer, and so glad to have you guys back with us today. Today, I get a chance to chat with one of my favorite people in the entire world. I've known her since before she was born, and now she is a phenomenal source of pride for me. She has her own business, and we're going to jump into that conversation with Charaye Danielle Brown. Hello, proprietor of
Hey,
Slade Beauty Salon in Houston, Texas. Hey, Charaye.
hey,
How's it going, girl? You look amazing.
thank you. It's going good.
Good, good. We got to do a toast. Toast into the show. Cheers to this great
Cheers.
conversation that we are about to embark on. I
Mm.
mentioned that I've known you since you were a baby and watching you grow into this phenomenal woman. What do you remember most about your early years, and how do you think your upbringing shaped who you are today?
My early years, I definitely spent more time more time at your house and and Mima's house.
But your working mama passes you around to all of the aunties and the grandmom and everything. Absolutely. But you know what? It was our foundation too. I remember just as a little kid, you being so bossy. So the fact that you
Yes.
now a boss makes perfect sense to me, right?
Rashad still would say I was bossy.
Well, of course, because he's your baby brother. Okay.
Hmm.
So, well, let's just kind of focus on Charlotte. I know Charlotte has really been a major impact in your entrepreneurial life, and a big support there as well. Because I know when you first started, she was helping with, getting a salon ready, and now
Hmm.
10 years later, you're just doing it on your own, and that's the way it's supposed to go, and that is Charlotte's legacy. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't remember, Charlotte is actually one of the original dreamers and one of my besties.
Mama was, well, she still is a hard ass, so.
Yeah, yeah,
And a lot of times I don't really listen to her right away. I kind of bump my head first and then I come back and circle
right,
back around.
right.
And she's usually right.
Yeah, yeah. Because you know why? She's already gone down that path that she's trying to
Hmm.
help you on now. But again, sometimes, as young adults, we have to learn some of those hard lessons. And there is no failure. It's just you're trying something, right? And a
Yes.
lot of times, and as I've observed, your ideas are spot on. You're
Hmm.
absolutely genius, especially when you first started out. I didn't know anybody that was crushing social media like you were when you first started. And a lot of that came from where? What was motivating you there?
Well, knows. Well, I came from, like, when I started my business, it was when Instagram just started.
Right, right.
So we were all learning social media at the same time.
Right. But you were really good at it, Charaye. I mean, you were advertising like consistently and constantly, which
Hmm.
something that I find challenging, and for the work I'm doing
It's a,
with the book.
it's another job.
It is. And not only that, if that isn't, it's not rocket science. Anybody,
No.
any user can do it. But to come up with the content, make it engaging, create your thumbnail so that when you put things out there, people want to click on it. These
Hmm.
are things that, me after working in corporate for 30 something years and typically having other people do that work for me, I found it to be daunting, and it still is. And not only that, I'm old school enough that somehow to promote myself is just weird. But
Hmm.
it is where we are. I mean, AI is here. That we're not going away from that. The social media platforms are necessary. So I just had to jump in there, roll up my sleeves, and learn. What are
Yeah, most people think that it's rocket science, or what people don't realize is that you just should post something.
right?
It's going to
Exactly.
get better and better over time, but just post something.
It's
And so that people
consistency.
know that, yes, people
Yeah.
know that you're there and you're available and you're working.
If you were talking to, say, a 18-year-old young lady that's just getting out of high school, what would you tell that person if they said to you, my real passion is hair? How would
Mhm.
you kind of gauge them and bring them along in that passion?
I know that most people don't believe this, but I think everybody should go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should go ahead and get the experience and the life skills, and you can do hair like I did,
Right?
at your dorm, in your apartment, all those types of things. But you should go and get the experience of being around different people
Right.
because most of the time when I talk to clients and other stylists, the biggest thing is the professionalism of the hairstylist.
Exactly.
And most hairstylists or people in the beauty industry, not most, a lot of them lack the customer service skills
Right. Right.
or even the wherewithal to get along with different types of people. And you never know who's going to sit in your chair. You should be able to talk to everybody.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I would definitely tell someone to just go ahead and go to school, even if you don't stay all 4 years, because I didn't stay all 4 years, but just go learn yourself, learn other people, and then move on towards the beauty industry.
So, and I don't mean to call you out, but your situation is a little different, and I happen to know a lot about it because I was there for most of it.
Hmm.
You have a different background in that you were able to travel a lot. So there's a level of exposure that, because your mom took you basically everywhere she went, you got a
Hmm.
chance to be around people that are different, navigate those situations, and be comfortable, having those conversations with people that you don't maybe go to school or church with. So to that point, those you're saying college can also become that next layer of
Yes.
education and engagement with people of different types, so that your level of comfort when you do get in your own salon behind your own chair, like you say, you don't know who's going to step up and you have to service them. Customer service seems to be a challenge in this industry, and I
I
know
don't
as an
understand it.
employer, I know you see it.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you navigate that? I mean, you've got a plan in place that you share with your other employees. How difficult is it to have those tough conversations when you're witnessing someone in your salon not behaving the way that you would want?
Well, one, it starts from the interview
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because I don't even want to have someone come into our space that doesn't know how to treat people well.
But that hasn't always been the case. Okay.
No.
When you were younger, there's some history there and some practice that you've had
Hmm.
that now with you've got some experience under your belt. You know what's going to succeed and what's not going to succeed. And you
When I
said
was younger, I just wanted to fill up the chairs.
exactly.
Now I care a lot more about the client's overall experience.
You know the saying, not all money is good money. Okay.
No,
And just because it's a warm body does not mean, and the drama that goes with that. Once you hire them, it's harder to get them off your books than just making a great
yes.
decision during the interview.
Hmm.
So when you first started your business, what was your ultimate goal as the dreaming girl that, okay, now I'm in my salon? What was the ultimate goal, and have you reached it yet? I'm assuming that it's a process, so I doubt that you've completely reached it. But from the Charaye at 19 that's opening up her own business, what have you? How close do you feel that you've come to recognizing that vision?
I think that my vision changes over time, like as I
Uh-huh.
get older,
Mm-hmm.
because I care about different things
Mm-hmm.
now than when I first started.
Right, right.
Um, I think that back then I more so just wanted to have a hangout
Mm-hmm.
spot.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have that type of vibe. Like we even have clients that they might not even be getting their hair done and they just stop by the salon just to sit down and talk.
Right, right. Just a nice girl vibe.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think that now my vision is because I want to kind of start transitioning away from the chair,
Right,
even though it's going to be very hard because my clients don't want that.
right.
But I want to go more into the education space,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to teach cosmetology school.
Right,
I want to teach people the business as far as the beauty industry
right.
and maybe help people open their own salon or to train not in a cosmetology school, but like train them after the fact. Like, because when you go to cosmetology school, you don't learn customer service, you don't
Right,
learn how to do your taxes,
right,
you don't even learn how to price
right,
yourself
right,
correctly.
right, right.
So I'd rather work with people after cosmetology school
Okay,
to get them to where they
be-
need to be.
so being like more of a business mentor.
Yes,
What would you feel about then branching that piece of your business even into doing like different events and being a spokesperson?
that sounds nice.
Yeah, yeah, I could see you doing that. I couldn't see you doing that 10 years ago. I
No.
definitely can see you doing that now. The level of confidence that you have, Charaye, and the level of maturity that I've watched you grow into over the last 10 years far exceeds where you were back then when you were just trying to figure things out on your own. Now you have something to offer and you can monetize that. It's
Hmm.
amazing. I'm actually looking at all the different ways that my books, we go from just me writing the books and getting them published and getting them out and marketing them to now how the relationships that I've built through the publicizing and being out and meeting people can now parlay into those speaking engagements. I think you would be phenomenal at that, particularly within your generation of a stylist who already know easily the pieces about social media and how they're comfortable with that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a cosmetology school recently
Mm-hmm.
and at first because it was so I was helping someone else out at the event and the students were sitting in the classroom and at first they were just completely like we really have to sit in here. And then over time, as I started talking and the other guy was, speaking life into them and teaching them different things and going over how we do things in the salon, they started to light up. But they wanted to know more because they felt like they weren't learning anything at
Right.
the school that they were attending. And this is a school that's like one of the top schools for cosmetology
Mm-hmm.
and they just felt like they weren't getting their $22,000 worth. And they
Well,
weren't
yeah, because
because
like you said, they come out of school and they don't have that high level business
mhm.
sense that you're just thinking about teaching people. I think that's an awesome idea.
But even as far as what they learn in cosmetology school, because cosmetology school, for the most part, I feel like it just teaches you how to pass the state exam.
Okay.
And they're there and they're doing roller sets and finger waves every day. But when they get into the real world,
That's not what people want.
they're not
Yeah.
going to be doing any of that.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I touched a roller.
Right. Right.
So, I
Wow.
mean, it's a good skill to have
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because you
Because
should know how to do most things, but they just work those kids and make money off of it because they do take clients at those cosmetology schools. So the school is making money on top of the tuition that they're paying
right.
to
Exactly.
be there.
Exactly. So now I have a question. I'm just like, I gotta ask. Your absolute worst situation that happened with a client that you had to work your way out of.
I don't have a lot of bad experiences.
That's good. Then just give me
Um,
a semi-bad one that you had to work your
okay,
way out of.
I had, I really couldn't work my way out of it, but I had a customer and she insisted on getting a black dye on her hair.
Okay.
And she wanted to do the black dye. She wouldn't take no for an answer. So I was like, okay, because she had extensions in and she wanted to put the dye on while she had extensions. And so I put the dye on, everything is fine, it's all good. She FaceTimes me the next morning, and her eye is so swollen. Her pillow is
Uh,
covered in like black dye, and it's her head. She had to go to the emergency room because what we found out is that she's allergic to PPD.
oh wow. And that's the, I guess, the main ingredient that's in the dye.
Hmm.
Oh wow.
And so it's in most hair dyes. There are a few, and I've done my research since then. So now we only use black dyes that do not have PPD because you don't know that you're allergic to it until you have a reaction.
Right, 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 right.
It's not something that you go to the doctor and get an allergy test for.
Right. So,
So,
and once I guess all of that passed over, that was a learning lesson that you now,
mm,
did some research, found out what was going on with that. You resolved it. Is that still a client or a former?
yes.
Okay,
No, she still comes. She
love
still
that.
comes.
I love that. How do you balance it all, Charaye? How do you balance your own personal life and trying to grow professionally and just as your own woman, how do you balance that and getting up on every Tuesday knowing you've got a whole week ahead of you of God knows how many hairstyles or whatever, and paying bills, and as you said, doing your taxes and making sure that you're marketing so that your growth is maintained. How do you manage all that?
Well, I do fall short sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but like I've been slacking lately on posting on social media and I've been getting the content, but I haven't been doing the editing to post the content.
Right, right, right.
But I think the best thing for me right now is the fact that I don't have any kids.
Okay.
'Cause if
Oh
I
my
had to
God,
add children
that's a
into the
game
mix.
changer. Absolutely. And that means now you've got to, put them first,
Hmm.
and because you're putting them first, you still have to make the money that you need to earn a living. But
Yes.
you're also blessed to be able to do something that you are passionate about. You get up every day really in kind of like a businesswoman's mind and a creative person's mind, because I
Hmm.
think I do the same thing. It amazes me the days that I get up and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to write 3 hours today. That nonstop. That's what we're going to do. And the phone starts ringing, and
Yes.
it's the next day, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write 3 hours today. I try not to beat myself up about it, but I also have to recognize that a lot of the things that I'm doing that's taking me away from the work that I need to be doing are really distractions. Do you find that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Do you find that somebody will call and ask you to do something, and instead of saying, well, I'm actually, in the
In the
process
middle of
of doing
something.
payroll, um, but you try to do that as well. And I'm just learning this, and I'm like, your godmama. So, it's a lot of years between us. I am just learning that piece where I have to say no so that I can control the 24/7 that I have. And a lot of,
But you also have to
yeah,
realize that you can't do all of it by yourself.
no, you can't. No, you
So the
can't.
best thing I did last year was hire an assistant.
Mm, nice,
So,
nice.
and she's not my first assistant. She's been the best one I've had.
Okay, okay. I
Um,
I actually hired a person a couple weeks ago and someone this week or like today, because I started to realize some things are better for me to source out than to
mhm.
take the time. to try to learn the skill, figure it. And yeah, I can. In fact, I actually like knowing the skill about, how to make a video, how to upload it, how to do the marketing, all that. That's my background. But is it really worth it for me when my income is being generated by the sale of books? So I need to be out there doing that. To your point, you can't do it all by yourself.
Mm-mm.
That's a good one. And when did you really zone in on that and say, okay, I'm breaking down. I gotta get some help in here.
I think probably like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I started to because I would work late hours, come home, make the videos, and then I have to still come up with the different promotions that we do at the salon. I have to make the flyers. I have to do the photo shoots. I have to all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just realized that I needed somebody to help me.
Right.
And sometimes help doesn't mean like, hiring an assistant, but there's like Fiverr.
Uh-huh.
I'll
Uh-huh.
go on Fiverr or I'll go on Etsy
Yep.
and purchase a flyer and then I just make the tweaks to it and then put it out there. Or I will chat GPT has really helped
Yep. I
because
love
I don't have
it.
to come up with the ideas as much as I used to.
Right, exactly. And even if all it does is just spark, a thought,
Yes.
and then you could take it from there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it as well. And I'm getting better and better at it. It's just a matter of practicing with it.
And I
Um,
like the fact that it learns you.
yeah, right.
So I
Exactly.
can ask it a question and I won't even put that it's about the salon, but it'll spit out something that's like an idea for the salon, or it'll have, if I ask them to make, I don't know, the other day we had a bad review. And so I just went on there and I was trying to come up with a really nice way to reach out to the client. And when it said something back to me, it said, everything about Slade Beauty Lounge and all of the things. And
Right,
so I don't have to go and remind it
right.
what we're talking about.
So that you bring up a good point. What happens? What's your process when you get a bad review? Especially if it's on Google and do you always respond to all of your reviews or just the bad ones?
And I'll respond to everything. I because we have quite a few reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to respond if I didn't do the client.
Right, right.
So then I have to go back and, talk to them and find out what happened or try to go in the system to remember who it was so that we can resolve whatever the situation is.
Okay, all right.
But we give them, if it's something that we can fix, we usually give them the opportunity to choose if they want to give that stylist another chance
mhm.
or if they just want to go with someone completely different. The only bad thing about them going with someone completely different is that the person who did it initially has already been paid.
Right. Wow. The little
But
nuances.
the good thing is that we do work as a team,
Mhm.
and where one person might fall short, somebody usually steps in and is like, okay, no, I think you should do it this way.
Right, right.
And so picking up, where someone kind of dropped the ball, usually someone is willing to do it.
Mhm. How when you walk into Slade, what is it like? What is the setup? How did you think through the way you wanted it set up? Is it part lounge? Is it just all salon where all the entire building is just chairs or salon suites?
So I didn't think anything through because I was 23, just just trying to get a
Trying to get
space.
some furniture in there, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
But the front lobby area is set up to where people can lounge around and chill. It's actually the main couch is actually a futon.
Uh-huh.
So, so if you needed to lay down.
Right, right.
But we have, the front lounge area, and then we have our bar set up where, we serve cocktails and all those types of things. We also have a snack bar. So when our clients come in, generally, they don't have to leave for anything until they're done.
Right, right. Nice.
They they eat, they have a drink, they get their hair done.
I love that. And you know what? You actually do more than just style hair. You make us feel beautiful. How
Mhm.
does that feel to you when you see that kind of excitement in your clients that you big picture they're walking out and they are completely transformed?
I think the biggest thing is when they've come to me and their hair is severely damaged or it's broken off or whatever the case is. And then a few months down the line, and now their hair is the healthiest it's ever been.
Nice.
And they go out and they tell people that I worked a miracle. I
Yeah.
think that matters more to me than when I put some weave in someone's hair
Right.
and, they feel pretty for however long they keep it in. I always tell my clients that I care about the finished look, but I care more about what's underneath.
I love that. And that
So you
is,
can't come to me shampooed and blow dried.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna do the whole process.
Right, exactly. Why would anybody come to you already shampooed and blow dried?
Oh, that's a thing.
Huh?
That's a thing.
What does that mean? I mean, I don't want to touch my hair. That's why I'm coming to your shop.
So one, it became when people started wearing the wigs and, excessively wearing the weaves and everything,
Mhm.
most stylists started requiring that their customers came in shampooed and blow dried, and all they did was install the wig. So what that did is it got this culture of people being prepared to shampoo and blow dry their hair before they get it. You wouldn't imagine how many calls we get every week and they say, okay, how much is a silk press? Do I need to come in with my hair already shampooed? And I'm like, why wouldn't I shampoo it if
Right.
I'm gonna press your hair?"
And not only that, you are the professional. You know if hair is clean or not, you know?
Exactly.
I
I
mean,
don't touch dirty hair.
okay,
So
right.
I tell everybody shampoo is included in all of our services.
Right,
So
exactly.
you really can't come in and not be shampooed.
I love that. And again, I love the other piece that you said about the foundational care of your hair,
Hmm.
and you're right. It doesn't really make sense if I walk out of the salon and my hair is fly today. And then, 2 weeks later, I decide, and, I'm always changing my look up. Oh, you
Hmm.
know what? I think I'm going to go with braids this time or whatever. Ultimately, those are kind of protective hairstyles. So,
Yeah.
but the reason I'm doing that is because I want my hair healthy. I don't want to pretend or cover up damaged hair.
Yes.
Yeah,
And a lot of people are traumatized by stylists cutting their hair too much or all the different things. And I just have to tell my clients, like, are you the professional or am I? Because you're telling me that your hair is not growing,
uh-huh.
but you won't let me trim it.
Right, right. Yeah,
You don't want me to do anything to help you to reach the goals that you want to reach, but then you also want to complain about where your hair is in its growth journey. And at the end of the day, I tell them if we don't cut off the bad ends, it's just going to continue to get shorter and shorter anyway.
right, right. And I've been, in the client chair, and I know that there have been times where I've got my hair done, and somebody maybe cut more off than I wanted. Um,
Hmm.
but it's about how you educate that client, how it's like, hey,
Yes.
if we're in this as a team, we're partners in your hair journey, and I can't recommend that you proceed forward if you're not going to let me do those things that I know are going to really get to the root, literally and figuratively, to the root of the situation.
So what we generally do is we take a picture of their hair before,
Oh,
let them
yes.
see exactly what actually needs to be cut off.
Right.
And of course, the ultimate decision is up to them because if you don't want us to cut 4 inches off because you need 4 inches off, and you're only comfortable with cutting 2 inches off, then that's what we do. But we at least let you see where the problem areas are so that we can move forward and then come up with a plan. Okay, if you're going to only take these 2 inches off, how long until you're going to let me, trim another inch off
Right,
so that we can gradually get the broken and dead hair off.
right, right. Question. You have done like different beauty sponsored programs and different events out there. Do you think networking is still a big part of your business? Being out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
I
What?
don't I don't pass out cards the way I did when I first started,
Mhm.
but knowing people is the best part of my business because one, of course, they tell their friends and family, and their friends and family come and get their hair done. And a lot of times they'll tell me, "Oh, I got stopped in HEB and I gave her your Instagram."
Oh, nice.
Or I got stopped at church and I gave her your information. That does happen a lot, but we also make other types of connections. Like we might have a client who, for instance, I have several principals that come to get their hair done. And they may make mention that they're looking for a social studies teacher.
Okay, nice,
And
nice.
I might have another
So
client
you're just
who,
networking with everybody.
yes, and I've seen clients come into the salon together and not know each other, but then leave and somebody has helped somebody get a job.
I love that. I love it. Girl, that sounds like church. You got church happening up in there. I love that. And that,
Because we cater to a specific demographic,
mhm,
and it's more of professionals, not super young. I don't do a lot of college kids. Most of my people have jobs,
right, right. Of course,
careers.
of course, of course.
So they make their own connections inside. I might kickstart it. I
Right.
might say, "Hey, aren't you looking for? Oh, well, she needs," and then they form the connection themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. Making a difference all the way around. I love that. If you could speak to your younger self, so this is kind of like an out of body thing where you're maybe the Charaye now looking down on 19, 20-year-old Charaye, what are you most proud of?
Mm. I think my ability to bring people together
Mm.
is something that, because even last night when I was hanging out with my friends, I had two different groups of friends, and now everybody wants to hang out with each other.
Nice, nice.
Um, I think that might be the best part,
Mm.
being able to talk to anybody and bring other people that probably typically wouldn't associate with each other or know each other, bringing them together.
Mhm.
Because even like mom, um, I knew someone who needed a job or who wasn't happy at their job, and now she's been working with mama for the last 10 years.
I love that. I love that. So I asked you that question about looking at your younger self as your older self and thinking how have you grown and what has changed. And I love your answer about your ability to bring people together. Um, I'm going to share what it looks like to me from my vantage point as someone who's known you your life, your entire life. The fact that, we'll talk about Rashad in just a minute, my godson, your brother. Yeah, shout out to Rashad. Um, I have seen you make the decision to grow up. And that has just been an amazing, beautiful thing to watch. I know you were young, you were struggling, you were trying to figure things out without, help, and then you realize, wait a minute, some of this help is warranted. And so I'm going to start reaching out for it now and not
Hmm.
make those mistakes. But the other side is more on a personal side, and that is showing up for people, how you support your mom and your dad and Freddie. Oh my God, Charaye. I am so completely proud of you. I mean, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm 30, so why wouldn't I, be that person? I know a whole bunch of folks your age that don't get that. And I am super, super proud of you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. And now we mentioned Rashad. We mentioned Rashad, my godson. How does your brother factor into all your whirlwind craziness other than reminding you that you're semi still responsible for him?
Well, he thinks that he the big brother now.
He is so grown now. It's
He
crazy.
is. He thinks he's the older brother.
When I'm around Rashad, sometimes I feel like I'm not serious enough. Because he just like gets into that zone with whatever he's working on and he is focused, he's laser focused on it. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I can't be acting too silly, not now, but we break a joke, we have some fun. That's not, I'm not saying that he's completely serious all the time, but
He
has
has turned into a grown up.
he has turned into a grown up and has a very serious disposition. And I will also give him a shout out for being there for his mom and family as well, because I know you guys team up a lot, and I'm glad that I had a part at any point in your lives. If you're gonna turn out like this, I'm taking some swing. I love you, darling, so much. And
Love you too.
thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit of your knowledge and insight. I got to have you back because I think I need to go into the salon and we'll do a live show.
Yes, we talk about doing stuff like that all the time at the salon.
Yeah, yeah. And
We said we need cameras or something. It should be a reality show, all the stuff that
oh,
happens in
I'm
there.
sure. I'm sure. In fact, girl, you have not said nothing but a word. I'm there. I'll give you a call and let you know and we'll set it up.
Okay.
We got to toast out, of course. I love you, baby girl.
Love you too.
Until we meet again, thanks everybody for joining the show. This is Marcia. I'm out. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching the show. And please don't forget to subscribe and like. And remember, we may not always get the happy ending, but we make our endings happy.